to the second video of session 8 of rail transport. In this video, I will try to help you distinguish between the description of dangerous goods and identification of dangerous goods. It is important for forwarders to really understand the difference between description and identification. The question is, how can dangerous goods be identified? Dangerous goods can be identified in three ways. You would identify dangerous goods in transport documents where they are clearly indicated. The transport documents on cargoes that are considered dangerous goods are clearly indicated in transport documents. That is the first way. The second way of identification is in the packages and intermediate bulk containers. I will show you a few of this in the latter stage of this session. The third way in which dangerous goods can be identified is in the cargo transport unit themselves. When you see tankers that are used to transport petroleum products, they are dangerous goods and they are clearly marked. That's the cargo transport unit. So it is a way of helping everyone to identify that the vehicle or the receptacle that is being seen carries goods that are dangerous. So the three ways in which dangerous goods are identified is that: one, the dangerous goods are indicated in the transport document, so you can identify it when you look at document. So if you want to look for dangerous goods, when you handle any consignment, check the transport document, and if it's dangerous, you would know it's indicated somewhere in it. Two, look at the packages or the intermediate bulk containers. There are also types of loading units and packages. You would see that the consignment has dangerous goods. Also, in the cargo transport unit, you would identify dangerous goods being transported. So there are three ways. Similarly, there are three also ways in which dangerous goods are described. There are three methods of identification, and there are three methods of description. The first description is the United Nations Substance Identification Number. These are usually 4-digit numbers. United Nations Substance Identification Number. Dangerous goods can also be described using proper shipping names. These are names that are assigned to every dangerous goods that can be transported. The third way in which dangerous goods can be described is by visual means. That is, the labels that are stuck onto the packages or intermediate bulk containers corresponding to the different hazard classes. So The three ways are United Nations Substance Identification Number, 2, proper shipping names, 3, visual means by the labels corresponding to the different hazard classes. Now, let us look at classification. Whose responsibility is it to do the classification? Classification must be made by appropriate national authority when so required, or by the shipper. So if the shipper doesn't know, the shipper has to refer to the appropriate national authority for the classification of any particular dangerous goods. Classes, divisions, and packing groups. Articles are assigned into one of 9 classes according to the type of hazard they represent. There are 9 classes of dangerous goods, and any article or substance will be put under one of any of the 9 classes. The classifications are done according to the type of hazard the article or substance represents. Now let's go to the classes. We begin with class 1. Class 1 is explosives. And examples of explosives are flares, ammunitions, fireworks, etc. Class 1, which are explosives, are further divided into divisions. This is where the divisions come in. And there are 6 divisions for class 1, which is explosives. Division 1.1 is mass explosion hazard. Division 1.2 is projection hazard. Division 1.3 is for fire hazard. Division 1.4 has no significant hazard. Division 1.5 is very insensitive, and Division 1.6 is extremely insensitive. So these are the 6 divisions of explosives. When it comes to the divisions, you don't say class and divisions, you just mention division. For example, Division 1.1 or Division 1.2. Next, explosives are divided into compatibility groups. And compatibility groups are assigned letters beginning from A, B, C, D, E, all the way to S. When you move on to do the dangerous goods module itself, the facilitator would give you deeper explanation to this. I am only supposed to just give you an overview. Ideally, you should have covered dangerous goods module by now so that I could use that as a stepping stone to just cover it very quickly. So, class 1, which are explosives, have 6 divisions, and they are also divided into compatibility groups, and these compatibility groups are assigned letters beginning from alphabet A, B, C, all the way to S. Just as an example for compatibility groups, when you look at what is written in deep yellow and the label beside it, you see clearly Division 1.4. The 4 stands for the division. The main class is the 1. So 1.4 is class 1 division 4. And you see an S alphabet written against the 1.4. That is the compatibility group. So when you look at the label on the side, which is in orange color, you see 1.4 with an ellipse around it. That is division 1.4. And the compatibility group is the S under it. And the one you see below tells you is class 1. That's all. Just as an example of how you read labels. Class 2 is gases. Class 2 gases. And gases have 3 divisions. Examples of gases are aerosols, the sprays we use, butane gas, oxygen, which we breathe in, tear gas that the police use to disperse crowds and all that. They all belong to class 2 gases. But there are three divisions on the gases. Division 2.1 is flammable gases. Division 2.2 is non-flammable, non-toxic gas. Division 2.3 is toxic gases. And their labels are shown in this slide. The one on top is flammable gases, and you see 2 under. The non-flammable, non-toxic gases is the green, and the white with the bones at the top is toxic gases. You see this quite often around. The flammable gas with flame at the top and the class stated at the bottom. The non-flammable toxic, you see this in oxygen canisters. It's green with the symbol on there, and the plain white with the death bone thing represent toxic gases. So these are the 3 divisions of class 2 gases. Note how they are called gases. Class 3 is flammable liquids, the most common class of dangerous goods that we see around. They include the ordinary adhesives, alcoholic beverages, fuels, paint, perfumes, and all kinds of solvents. They all belong to class 3, and it is called flammable liquids. The label is shown in this slide. Class 4 is flammable solids. Examples of flammable solids include magnesium, the ordinary matches that we use to light fire, sodium, and zinc dust. There are 3 divisions in class 4. Division 4.1 is flammable solids. Division 4.2 is substances liable to spontaneous combustion. Division 4.3 is dangerous when wet. Class 5 is called oxidizing substances and organic peroxides. Please note the name. Class 5, oxidizing substances and organic peroxides. There are 2 divisions. Division 5.1 are oxidizers, and Division 5.2 are the organic peroxides. The labels are appropriately shown in this label. The common types of oxidizing substance organic peroxides include bleaching powder and calcium chloride. Class 6 is toxic and infectious substances. Examples of class 6 or toxic and infectious substances are arsenic, cyanide, and viruses. These ordinary biological things, viruses. They belong to class 6, toxic and infectious substance. There are 2 divisions of toxic and infectious substances. Division 6.1 represent the toxic, and Division 6.2 represent infectious substances. Class 7 is radioactive materials. Class 7, radioactive materials. And for radioactive materials, there are no divisions, rather it has three categories. Category I, white. Category II, yellow. And category III, yellow. Those are the three categories of class 7 dangerous goods, and they are all radioactive materials. Examples are radioactive medicines that we take, then X-ray sources, so and others. The only class of dangerous goods that does not have divisions but rather has categories is class 7. Please note, it doesn't have divisions, it has 3 categories. Class 8 is corrosives. Examples of corrosives are ammonia solutions, batteries, they are wet filled with acid, chlorine, and phosphoric acid. The ammonia solution, batteries, they become wet when they are filled with acid. That makes them dangerous. Chlorine and phosphoric acid, these are common examples of class 8 corrosives. The label is appropriately shown in the slide. Class 9 is miscellaneous dangerous goods, and they include asbestos, dry ice, vehicles. The vehicles that we clear from the port, they are all dangerous cargo. Flammable liquid powders, magnetized material, etc. They all belong to class 9, and they are called miscellaneous dangerous goods. So remember, vehicles are dangerous cargo because in the fuel tank you find fuel, petrol or diesel. In the seats are foam, they are combustible solids, they are flammable solids. There's radio in and other equipment that may be radioactive. There are all sorts of dangerous good classes combined together into one vehicle. So a vehicle is a dangerous cargo, and it belongs to the miscellaneous group, which is class 9.